Good evening. How are you? It's Ellen Lewis, and welcome back to my podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. So I don't know if you are, part of the Crazy for You community or, you're just sort of happening on this. But about a month ago, I sent out a survey, a request for information, input, and comments about sweater knitting. And anytime you cast a net or whatever, you're not sure what you're going to get. So I really wasn't, I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but I certainly wasn't expecting the level of response that I got. Literally hundreds of people wrote back to me about knitting sweaters, and I was really touched. I was touched and I was honored by the fact that they wrote back, but also by the level of intimacy and vulnerability that everybody shared about sweaters. And the primary concern that people shared with me was about fit. I'm afraid it won't fit. I'm hard to fit. I can't make a sweater that fits me. What if I knit it and it doesn't fit? I'm afraid it won't fit. I tried to knit a sweater once and it didn't fit, and I never tried again. Those were the kinds of things that I heard, over and over and over again in one form or another. So what I wanted to do tonight is to show you how to take a set of body measurements that are really useful in terms of knitting a sweater. Now, we've all taken measurements, I'm sure, for a variety of applications. When you were little, I'm sure you've had measurements taken for ballet costumes or whatever, across your shoulder, all kinds of measurements. And those are great for the application, but sewing measurements are really different than the kinds of measurements that you need when you're knitting a sweater. So I wanted to show you how to take the measurements that are useful and that relate to the decision points when you're knitting. So I actually have a video that I wanted to share with you. I had originally thought that I would capture in real time taking someone's measurements, but it actually takes a decent amount of time, and it can be kind of awkward because I'm up and down on my knees and whatnot. So this is a video that my friend Brandy shot and edited for me, and I used my friend Mindy to be our measurement model, and she was really sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up and show it to you. But first, I want to say hi, Gwen, and hi, Eveline, and hi, all of you who are watching. But hi, Ellen, but haven't said anything. So I'm glad that you're here, and I hope that you find this to be a useful evening. Okay, let me bring this up, and I will show you. Okay. All right. So can you hear me? Can you hear the video? We are here with beautiful Mindy, and we are going to take a full set of body measurements for Mindy. So, okay, real quick, I just want you to tell me in the comments if you can hear this okay. I think you can. I think it should be good, but like I said, I just wanted to make sure. So I'm going to wait a minute and make sure you can hear it. Yes, you can hear it. Okay, awesome. So I'll start this back. Okie doke. We are here with beautiful Mindy, and we are going to take a full set of body measurements for Mindy. So I want you to maybe follow along with us at home. Get a partner. You really can't take your measurements by yourself. So get somebody to work with you and help you take your measurements. Okay? So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to take a full bust measurement. So I am going to take the tape measure and I am going to wrap it around Mindy. around the fullest part of her bust. All right, so relax. I'm just going to take the full measurement of your bust. 38 and a half. 38 and a half.
Okay.
Mindy has a beautiful bust line. Okay, so now that is an important measurement because that just tells us, you know, where she is the widest at her chest. But another really important measurement, especially for somebody who is busty, is to get what we call the upper bust measurement. Now this upper bust is, if you look around in the back, this is above her, kind of her bra line, just below her armpit. And we're going to take this full bust measurement, and I'm going to pull it tight, okay? So that is 35. This upper bust measurement correlates to the shoulder width on a sweater. So a lot of times, if you do have a large bust, you tend to knit the size for your bust, and then you find that it's too large at the shoulder. But by taking this measurement at the upper bust and bringing that information into your size choice decision is really going to help you get a much better fit. So go ahead and take those full bust and upper bust measurements.
One.
All right, so the next measurement that you want is the waist measurement. So it's not always clear where our waist is, you know, depending on how you're shaped. So go ahead and show me where you feel like your waist is, right? Okay, and she's got her hands right there on her waist. Another way to tell is kind of bend side to side and where your body breaks. Yep, that's your waist, okay? So what I'm going to do, because we're going to use this, this measurement a bit, I'm going to go ahead and tie a bow so that we can get her measurement around her waist. Okay, so now we have the upper bust, the full bust, and the waist measurement. So while we're measuring around, so Mindy, where do you typically like your sweaters to fit? I mean, to fall? Is this a length you like?
Yep.
Right here. Okay, so stand up straight. So right around here is
Yes.
a good measurement for you. Okay, so let's get your measurement at that length. Okay, so now we have some different measurements that help us to see how Mindy's body changes as it goes from top to bottom. The next measurement we're going to take is the armhole depth. If you have ever bought a tank or a cami or anything sleeveless at the store, and you have found that it is either too tight under the arm or it's so deep that your bra shows. Have you had that? Yes. Okay. So that's typically what's going to happen. It's going to be, the armhole is going to be so deep if you're shorter that your bra shows, and that's not something that we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure the depth of our armhole. Now, it's really hard to sort of identify up in there your armhole. So we use a ruler, and this ruler is about 1 inch wide, and that's about a nice amount of ease. Okay, so ease being the difference between your actual armhole measurement and where we want the sweater to fit. So I'm going to take this ruler and I'm going to shove it up under there, and I'm going to turn you sideways so everybody can see that we now have this ruler measured up under her armhole. Okay, so shoved up there nice and uncomfortable. All right, now relax your shoulder. Did you see how by relaxing her shoulder, so you shove it up there, it's awkward, but then if you relax, it's going to be a slightly different measurement. So what we're looking for is from the, and we want this to be nice and straight. Okay, good, good. So we're going to measure from the top of the shoulder down to the bottom of this ruler. It is 7 inches, okay? So just to be sure, I'm going to measure all the way up and over so that I can make sure that I didn't get it, you know, uneven. So I'm going to take my measuring tape, I'm going to put it at the bottom of the ruler here. I'm going to go up and over the shoulder and here. Okay, so that actually looks more like 15. Okay, so 7.5 is a better armhole measurement for you. All right? Okay, so now that we have established where the armhole is going to be, so think in terms of how a classically constructed sweater is made. You've got a section here that you start binding off for the armhole. So let's then look at the length of the body and what happens before we bind off for the armhole. So what we want is this measurement from the armhole bind off to the waist. So is that uncomfortable? All right, relax your shoulders. All right, so we're going to measure this length here from the bottom of the ruler to the waist, 5 inches. Okay, and while I got you here, this is the length that you like your sweaters. So from armhole to standard sweater length is 12 inches. Now, if you were going to make a long sweater that it was going to come down kind of over your butt, is this about where you would want that to be? Okay, so I think most people want a long sweater that comes just to the curve of the glutes. Okay, so, and that tends to line up sort of with the fingertips. So 19 inches. And then if you were going to wear like leggings and a tunic, would it be longer than that? Or would it be about the same?
It would probably be about the same because I'm so short.
All right, we could also do a measurement right in here. Call that a long sweater length.
That would probably be more of a long sweater, and then
And
this
then
would be
this
a
would be a
tunic.
tunic. Okay, so this is going to be our long sweater length, and then, our tunic, and then we're going to have a long sweater length here, kind of at the fullest point of the hip. So let's take a measurement around the fullest point of the hip for our long sweater length, 41.5, and then our tunic length. Put your fingertips down for me. Yeah, okay, 36. I find that I tend to wear most of I don't wear anything in between. I'm better with a longer. So are you also?
I normally, if with my sweaters the one that I've made from here, I normally like it a tiny bit longer. But like a cardigan, I definitely would wear longer too.
Right.
A tank, I would probably want more fitted here.
Uh-huh.
You know, where this is.
Right.
Yes.
Right. But not necessarily
not-
shorter.
no.
Okay, the other thing we want is a short sweater length. So if you were going to make something, the height of our waistlines, in our trousers are coming up. We're going back to high-waisted pants. So if you were going to do something that was going to sort of hit you right at a short length,
Right.
where would that be?
That would be here.
Okay, so that would be here.
Probably like right in between like this.
Okay, so a short sweater length, we're going to put this back up under. All right? Relax your shoulders. All right, so we're talking about like right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so a short sweater length on Mindy. Are we still at your waist? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, a short sweater length is going to be here. Okay, so that's 11, and that's going to come across here. Does that feel? All right. Okay, so short sweater length at 11, and then we'll get the body measurement at your short sweater length. Am I twisted? Thank you.
It was up here a little, right?
All right. You see why you can't do this on your own? It really does take somebody else. So, all right. So if you were going to wear a short-sleeved sweater, where about do you want that sleeve to hit you? Like it? Okay. So you knew right off, didn't
Yep.
you? Okay. All right. So turn. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure that length from the bottom of the ruler to where she would like that short sweater length. And that's right about 2 inches. Okay. So an elbow length sweater is going to be at 7. Where would you want a 3/4? Right there. Okay. And that's going to be 10.5. And your full sleeve length, you would want a little longer than this one. Okay,
Yes.
so 16 inches for a full sleeve. All right, so now we know what lengths you like for your sweater. Let's think about how big around your sleeve needs to be at each of those places, because this is a hugely important measurement if you get into drop shoulders or whatever, you want to make sure that the sleeve fits around your bicep. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. So I'm going to take a measurement at your bicep. All right, 12 and a half. Your bicep measurement is the measurement that correlates to the top of your sleeve before you bind off for your sleeve cap. Okay, so it's really easy to see that. That's usually shown in a schematic, and you can look at that pattern and see whether that is in keeping with the circumference that you need on your body. All right, so here is our elbow measurement, 9 1/4, 3/4, 9, and then wrist. Oh, you are so petite. Look at you. 5 3/4. All right. What am I missing?
Only the cross chest.
Okay, I think, so cross chest measurement is one of those where, you just are measuring from bust point to bust point, and we can take that measurement. I don't usually do anything with it. 8 inches, but that's the measurement that you would use if you were going to do vertical darts to accommodate a bust line. So it's in there. It's nice to know, but most everybody's pretty much the same. All right. Okay. Thank you. And we will be getting you a beautiful hemmed sweater that fits you perfectly soon, too.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mindy. So you can see why knowing the specifics of our body measurements, both in terms of circumference and length, are so important. So Mindy has like a 38-inch bust. There might be somebody else with a 38-inch bust who's much, much taller or shaped very differently. And clearly they would not fit the same garment. So knowing how to read a pattern and where you might need to adjust it for your particular shape is key to getting a garment that fits you the way you like it. Okay. I know that was a long video, but I did want to share with you. We are here with beautiful Mindy, and we are going to take a full set of body measurements. All right. Sorry. So I know that was a long video, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me, but I do think it was kind of important to show you how the different measurements of your body you can use when you're looking at a pattern and evaluating what size to make. And I think one of the biggest is that upper bust measurement. That's really, really huge. And also the lengths. I think it can be really, really interesting to see how long you are versus how long a sweater is. A lot of times we'll look at a pattern or we'll look at the model wearing the garment in the pattern magazine and we'll say, oh, I don't want it nearly that long. Or, oh, I want it much longer than that. But when we actually look at what our body measurements are and what the length of the pattern, what the length of the sweater in the pattern is, we find that it actually would hit us exactly where we want it. Or, we can make an informed decision. When we have our body length and circumference information, then we can make a more informed decision. And you do know that it is possible, regardless of your shape or your fit or whatever, to get a sweater that fits you, to knit a sweater that fits you exactly the way you like it. So that's a thing. And you saw that last week with the customers that I showed you who have done custom fit sweaters that fit them perfectly. And none of them is a model, none of us is a model. So we're all making stuff to fit our particular body. Another piece that's really important once you have your body measurements is to kind of take a look in your closet at the garments that you own, that you wear over and over, that fit you really well, and compare those measurements to your body measurements. And that's a good way to kind of figure out how much ease you like and to begin to understand the way you like sweaters to fit. It's important to remember too that all of the measurements that I showed you with Mindy are kind of geared toward a set-in sleeve measurement, a set-in sleeve construction. And drop shoulder and raglan and yoke sweaters have slightly different ease requirements. And you have to kind of take that into account when you're making your decision. But definitely having that set of measurements of your own body, circumference and length at the various places is going to be a huge step forward in terms of getting a sweater that fits you the way you like it. So were there any questions on that? Tell me in the comments if you had any questions, or if any of that didn't make sense, or specifically anything that I can answer for you about getting those measurements. I did do a private custom fit session with two of the most wonderful women yesterday. I did it via FaceTime, and they were in Idaho and I was here, and they were measuring each other. It was so much fun. And I put them in the system today and sent them off their measurements. So that was great. I was really pleased at how well that worked out. And oh my goodness, like I said, it was so much fun. If you just have to chill and, just do it, because it is what it is. We don't knit this sweater exactly like the pattern says. We knit it exactly like we want it to be. And this is how you can get that sweater to fit you exactly the way you want it to. Shoulder to bottom length. Okay. Evelyn asking for shoulder to bottom length. So that's a very seamstressy kind of measurement. So yes, absolutely, it's important. But what happens with a sweater tends to be, you're going to add that armhole depth plus the length from your armhole to your desired hem. And that's basically the same as your back length, but it really better correlates to, like I say, the decision points in knitting a sweater. Because you can say, this is my back length, but what does that actually mean? What does that translate to in a sweater pattern? And I think that's been the problem with so many of the measurement approaches, is that we have these measurements, but what do we do with them? When you measure, when you have your armhole depth and then you have your measurement from your armhole to the desired hem, then you actually know what you're doing as you go into the pattern. You know where you need to make those adjustments, because just having your back neck to your hem is not as important, I think, as knowing, maybe you need more in the armhole. And if you adjust your armhole longer, you need maybe less in the length. So it's kind of a nice double check. But again, these measurements are important for correlating your body measurements to the decision points in a sweater. Does that make sense, Evelyn? All right, let's see. I hope so. So what I like to say is that I'm on a personal mission to create an army of competent, confident sweater knitters wearing a hand knit wardrobe. So that's what I want to do. I want everybody to be knitting sweaters that they love, sweaters that fit great, and sweaters that look great. So that's my mission. And it has been since 2004 when I opened the shop. I want people making garments that they love to wear, garments that they reach for again and again, because they're their favorite things in their wardrobe. So that's what I'm all about. And when I sent out that survey asking, fit was the biggest component of angst about knitting a sweater. And the second piece of it was finishing. So I'm going to be doing another video similar to this about finishing, about the order of construction, about the different kinds of seams and how to do them. And if you are interested in that, if you are interested in knitting sweaters and making sweaters that fit and sweaters that are finished beautifully, I always say that, finishing is the difference between somebody saying, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful sweater, and, oh, I see you've taken up knitting. So what we want is the, wow, that's a beautiful sweater. And a lot of that, I want my sweater to look good, is after the fit is about the finishing. So that's coming soon. And if you are interested in getting that, there's a link in the description of this video, both on YouTube and on Facebook. And you can go there and you can sign up to get those videos that are coming out soon. So I'm super excited. I love sweater knitting and I love helping you make beautiful sweaters that fit. So join me in my crusade to build an army of sweater knitters. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Let me just check the comments. Let's see. That is when I see. Yep, to see and learn. So the finishing is really important, and I have some more videos that I've done very, very close up. So it's really nice to be able to have those close up videos. Those of you who've taken my first sweater class with me, you know that I get right in tight so that you can see my hands and my stitches and the needle and everything that you might not be able to see if you were in a real class with me. You know, getting that close to me in class might be a little weird, but in the video, it's not weird at all. So, all right, well, if anybody doesn't have any more questions, you can go ahead and put questions in. I will continue to answer them either on YouTube or on Facebook. And if you have comments, I would love to hear it. But definitely look in the description and go to that link and sign up. So then you'll have the information about the finishing. And I also have a piece on reading instructions and understanding those kinds of things coming. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I look forward to seeing you there. Good night.